Hello and welcome everyone to a brand new series that we like to call the All-Time Madden NFL Challenge. Well, what I've done is I've compiled an entire depth chart of the all-time NFL teams, and my goodness, it is pretty exciting because we have all sorts of players from the past and present that have been put into this franchise mode. And when I say that, I mean like pretty much all of them from all time, and we do it on a very interesting system. So, sorry, there we go. I'm just trying to see and make sure that everything is working properly um, as I stream live here on the um, YouTube channel. Not that I really expect anyone to see this quite yet, but it's going to be really interesting because uh, by the way, if you want to download this, all you got to look for is BITW um, 9000 on the Madden 18 uh, roster, and you could definitely see this roster that I've created and compiled to show you the best players of all teams all time. So how we did the overall system is we went on a specific website that had ratings for all the players based on how well they did, stats, um, championships, etc. It's not necessarily um, all of them all time, but um, it definitely means something. So we did based on the numbers that this in particular website gave us. We got overall for each player. We wanted to make it very difficult to get 99 overall, but not impossible, obviously. So some players like Mean Joe Green, Peyton Manning, etc., are 99 overall, and it's entirely based on statistical value, um, overall play, and how well they did on each of their respective teams or the one respected team that they had. As you can see, Jay Cutler being 85 overall, Jim Harbaugh being 79 overall, and Rex Grossman being 72 overall for the Chicago Bears. It kind of gives that value. Jay Cutler obviously being 85 overall is not, it's a little high, but it's based on his entire career's statistics, and on top of that he spent most of his career in Chicago. Um, and of course, we got guys like Walter Payton, who's 99 overall, Gale Sayers, who's 90, Matt Forte, who's 90, and of course, we got our fullback Bronco Nagurski, who's 99. Of course, I know that he also played defense. We just decided that it would be best to put him on at the fullback position, and you'll see why in a minute. Um, and then, of course, for wide receivers, the Bears don't exactly have a ton of really good wide receivers. So obviously, all they've got really is Alshon Jeffrey, Curtis Conway, and Devin Hester. And then, of course, Mike Ditka at tight end, who's 95 overall. Um, and again, we tried to do this based on career statistics and a lot of things. So Mike Ditka is not going to be 99 overall based on his career statistics, how well he played, and all of that stuff. So he's going to be 95 overall. And I also tried to make sure that it was unbiased. That's one of the most difficult parts of especially a roster like this, is a lot of people go on and they put them how much they think they should be. Well, I did this based on a bunch of numbers from several different websites, but mainly the one website that gives statistical values to each player in particular. And then we've got like Stan Jones, 94, George Musso, 92, Jay Hilgenberg, 90, Dan Fortman, 87, and Joe Stidehar, 96. And then, of course, we've got the one of the more impressive defenses in the league, We got Dan Hampton, obviously 95 overall, and then their backup left end is 89 overall, and then you've got Rich Dent, who's 95 overall, and then of course Doug Atkins, who's 87 overall, and then you've got Steve McMichael and the refrigerator William Perry, on the defensive line, which is exactly why Bronco Nagurski wasn't on the defensive side of the football, is because he probably wouldn't even be the backup player for these in particular positions. And then you've got a left outside linebacker, Doug Buffoon, who's 91 overall, and then you've got Mike Singletary and Brian Urlacher and Dick Butkus and Danny Trevathan and Trevathan and their fourth middle linebacker is 85 overall, which is ridiculous. But I mean, this is what the Bears are known for, is their middle linebacker. And then you go to right outside linebacker where you get Lance Briggs and Leonard Floyd. Well, sorry, Sam Acco. But all things considered, we're trying to make sure it's super balanced. And then you got Peanut, who's 89, and then Wolford, 84. All of these corners that are pretty substantial. And then Adrian Amos, who at free safety 81, not really something the Bears are really known for, is their safety positions. So obviously their two safeties aren't exactly up to par. And then their kicker and punter were a little difficult to put together entirely, considering that there aren't a lot of kickers in the league that are super outstanding. So a lot of these kickers that we ended up making were kind of mad average, and then of course kick returners and whatnot. And then we move on to the Bengals. They've got Ken Anderson, who's obviously really good quarterback for the Bengals, one of their best, if not their best quarterback of all time. And then you've got Boomer Esiason, who's really good, and Carson Palmer, of course. And I know that might tick some people off. Carson Palmer's not the best Bengals quarterback of all time, but I mean, think about it. In terms of career statistics and whatnot, Ken Anderson definitely is the better player. And if you go to the halfback position, James Brooks, 91 overall, he's basically the only really good Bengals running back. And then Giovanni Bernard goes down to about 79 overall, considering that you're talking about the best elite players being 99 overall. So that brings down a lot of the players that are currently in the NFL nowadays down a couple of overall points. They don't really have a fullback, but they've got Chad Ochocinco, and we dropped AJ Green down to 95, but it is a little difficult considering how good AJ Green's been for the team. That one's a little bit of a I don't know. It's just kind of a pretty rough estimate on where AJ Green's going to overall be. And then we've got Isaac Curtis at that 3 spot, and then Chris Collinsworth. I know it doesn't. That last name is a little off, but it's Chris Collinsworth at that 4th Bengals wide receiver position. And then at tight end, we've got, of course, Tyler Eifert. Again, it's a little difficult considering how good he's been for the team, and he's still really young. So it's just kind of a rough estimate on where Tyler Eifert will fall in that position. And then we've got obviously some really great offensive line players for the Cincinnati Bengals, including Anthony Munoz, who's going to be 99 overall, and Andrew Whitworth, who's 92. Bob Johnson, Max Montoya, and we've got Willie Anderson. So their tackles are 99 overall, both with really good career statistics and obviously just being terrific players in the league. And then at left end, Bengals defense not exactly their most well-known and well-constructed part of their team. So they've only got a 79 overall, Michael Johnson 79 overall, Geno Atkins 85, but Pat Sims 78. And then we got Reggie Williams, who's actually a pretty decent player at 91. And then, of course, Jim LeClaire and Ray Malaluga, 87s apiece. And Vontaze Burfitt at 79. Ken Riley was one of the best players. I do apologize again. Technically, their colleges aren't correct. It just takes a little while to go through and edit every single college, and I just felt like that was unnecessary. But again, this is Cincinnati Bengals defense, not exactly the most well-known part of their team of all time. And then we've got a 71 overall free safety. Again, all of these are based on career statistics and whatnot. And honestly, if you look at free safeties in the Bengals history based on statistics and whatnot, it's pretty bad. We've got George Iloka at 71, and then we got Taylor Mays at 76 at strong safety. Not exactly top tier players for the Bengals in terms of their secondary. Ken Riley was really good for the Bengals, but he was really the only outstanding player on the Bengals secondary of all time. Then we move on to the Bills, where we got Jim Kelly, who's 95 overall. Again, entirely based on research and time and effort put in. I tried to keep my own personal feelings out of it. I honestly think Jim Kelly might be a little bit higher, but based on the career statistics we found and trying not to be a completely biased, designer of these players, we decided to just keep him at 95. And then we got Joe Ferguson at 91, and then for no reason, Tyrod Taylor and Ryan Fitzpatrick will just be here, 74 and 71. Not really necessary, but they are there at least. And then we've got at running back, obviously, Thurman Thomas and O.J. Simpson, the two best players. And then Willis McGahee was okay as a running back. 86 might honestly be a little high, but that's just based on what we found online on all of the research and time and effort that was put into creating this thing. And then, of course, Patrick DeMarco. Most of these fullbacks, unless they were Hall of Famers, are going to be about roughly where they are actually at in the game. Then we got Andre Reed at 95, Eric Moulds, and Sammy Watkins 77. Again, completely based on career statistics and whatnot. Obviously, players like Sammy Watkins, for example, he's still in the league, so it's a little difficult to predict exactly how he'll fall. So we gave him the benefit of the doubt, put him at 77. Obviously, because he's been in the league for so little time, he has such low statistical values on a lot of the sites that we were on. So Sammy Watkins would have been like 67 overall, but we decided to put him at 77 because it seems like Sammy Watkins will fall around there in the coming years. And then at tight end, Charles Clay, 76. Not really anything too impressive for the Bills' tight end squad. And then here's a quick look at the offensive line. Not too bad, but obviously another thing that the Bills aren't necessarily super well versed in, and that's that offensive line. And then, of course, Bruce Smith, 99 overall. His statistics and whatnot are absolutely wild. Like, no way in heck that dude could not be 99 overall. And then we've got Aaron Schobel at right end. He's pretty above at 90. And then moving on to defensive tackles, again, somewhat well-rounded. And then Cornelius Bennett at left outside linebacker. Middle linebacker, really no good players at that position for the Bills in terms of at least the history of their team and whatnot, what we could find online. 73 overall guy was the best that we found. And then Mike Stratton at right outside linebacker. And then corners, pretty Mad average, mad average. Nothing really too special there. And then, of course, their secondary, again, pretty average. But that's the Bills, and then we move on to the Broncos. John Elway, of course, 99 overall. I mean, couldn't really get much more there. And then Tim Tebow will be at 74. This one, honestly, Tim Tebow is probably not the Broncos' second best quarterback, at least in terms of all-time teams. And remember, this is all-time teams, which means there's only going to be one player. Randy Moss isn't going to be on the Patriots, the Vikings, and the Raiders. It's not going to happen. He's just going to be on the Vikings. And same thing with Peyton Manning. He's just going to be on the Colts. That's where he was for almost his entire career. He's just going to be on the Colts. And then Tim Tebow at 74 overall. Might be a little high, but he actually does have some good in terms of winning percentage and whatnot. He was a pretty mad decent player. Not to mention the Broncos really don't have a really solid second QB. Like I looked up a lot of these players. Like I mean, you'll see on some of these other ones you might not have ever heard of players that actually played in the past and are on here. And the reason why Tim Tebow is the number 2 quarterback for this team is simply because there just isn't really a solid quarterback other than John Elway that played for the Broncos and played for them more years than they played anywhere else. So that's just why Tim Tebow is going to be that number 2 player. And, he's just pretty mad average. And then for no real reason, Paxton Lynch is still going to be on the team. He's just 68 overall. Probably a little bit of a gift to give him a 68 overall rating. But, again, still playing. Perhaps, he'll live up to that expectation. Floyd Little is the Broncos' best overall running back in terms of statistics of all time. Terrell Davis, not really too crazy there. Then at wideout, Rod Smith, Demarius Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders, Ed McCaffrey, Haven Moses, and Shannon Sharp. All of these, Shannon Sharp's obviously a tight end. We'll get to that in a second, but something that the Broncos did really well have is wide receivers, and that's why, obviously, they got a lot of good statistics from both John Elway and obviously Peyton Manning for like Demarius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders. And then there's Shannon Sharp at tight end, 93 overall at that position. Really solid player right there. And then we've got Ryan Clady, Bill Bryan, Tom Nalen, Mitchell or Michael Schofield. Pretty, but all of the offensive linemen are created players. They're all, actual historic players that played for the team. So they're actually really solid, and based on their career statistics, Super Bowls, what they've done in their career, they have earned these overalls, and some of them are pretty bad. I mean, you've got to think the difference between Mean Joe Green and Taylor Mays is enormous. That's why Taylor Mays is 76 overall, and you've got Bruce Smith at 99. So I'm not going to make some of these players 80 something overall unless they actually deserve it, and it's all completely based on statistics. So that's just how that's going to be. I tried to do this as unbiased as I could possibly make it, so that's just how that's going to go. Obviously, you can download this and you can put what your personal thoughts are on the matter. It's just this is how this is going to go for my version of the game, because that's just how I researched and found all of these statistics is completely based on the unbiased factor. So then we've got Reuben Carter and Trevor Price as their D tackles, Carl Mecklenburg, and obviously Von Miller. Von Miller makes it to the number 2 spot because, again, he might still be playing, but compared to this guy who played his entire career in Denver and has the stats over Von Miller isn't the better player yet. And perhaps one day Von Miller will be the better player, but until that happens, he's just going to sit at that 91 spot. And at middle linebacker, Brandon Marshall is probably the best middle linebacker in Broncos history. There's not really much else to say there. Tom Jackson at right outside linebacker, not too bad in that category. And then, of course, we got Lewis Wright, Champ Bailey, Aqib Talib, Chris Harris Jr., and Lorenzo Doss. And Aqib Talib was a hard one because he played in Tampa Bay, he played in New England, he played in Denver. But in terms of how long he's played with the teams, especially considering this year that he'll have more years in Denver than New England, we just decided to keep him on the Denver Broncos, just because that's just the most years in his career now officially has been in Denver. And then we got Steve Atwater at free safety, solid player right there. And then at strong safety, Bill Thompson and Dennis Smith. That one, again, interchangeable. They're both 85 overall based on career statistical value. So it's up to you guys with who you want to start. Obviously, we're going to be starting Bill Thompson, but that's just because that's what the auto reorder did for the team. And then, yeah, that's just how that's going to go. I know this is a long run through, but I want you guys to see who is on each of these teams, because what we're going to be doing with this all-time team thing is we're going to be going through about 2-3 games per week, and we're going to just be seeing how the games play out and how the season develops as each of these teams play each other. And we're going to the team that wins the Super Bowl obviously will be the best, all-time team in history. That's the kind of idea. I know it's not always the case, and I understand that, but it should be really interesting to see, which of these teams ends up being the best team and wins the Super Bowl in this series. And we're doing it completely based on, all of the statistical value and stats that I've dug into and researched for many moons. So we'll see. Again, you can download this very roster and do one for yourself if you like. All you got to do is look up BITW 9000, our creative roster. As of this video, it is, as of when I'm recording this video, which will be the date that it shows up on there. All you got to do is find one with 82 likes or so. Then we move on to the Browns. Quarterbacks Frank Ryan and Bernie Kosar. Both of these guys pretty good. Otto Graham will probably end up being the starter at quarterback, to be honest with you. That's just because Otto Graham, even though he's a punter as well, it definitely he played quarterback, running back, fullback, and punter for the Browns way back in the day. He's a pretty solid player, obviously a Hall of Famer, one of the very first Hall of Famers to play. So he's going to end up starting for the Cleveland Browns on that front. And then we got Jim Brown and Leroy Kelly, two of the best running backs of all time, and Greg Pruitt. And then for no reason, Duke Johnson's still here at 78. Marion Motley at fullback. Obviously, a lot of these players that are really high overall back in the day when the Browns were one of the best teams in the league. We've got Paul Warfield, Dante Lavelli, Braylon Edwards, Sammy Coates, Josh Gordon. A pretty average, maybe even slightly below average wide receiver core, but obviously the Browns weren't really known for throwing the football very often back when they were good. Ozzie Newsome at tight end, pretty solid player. Of course, you got Joe Thomas, Gene Hickerson, Frank Gatsky, John Greco, and Dick Schroffroth. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Um, but pretty solid at those positions. And for this particular situation, you know, these players are again all completely based on statistical categories that we've looked up and heavily researched for this depth chart here. At left end, we got Emmanuel Ogba. Then we've got Myles Garrett. Again, that one's a little difficult considering that he's a rookie, but based on the fact that there are no good players at right end for Cleveland Browns in their entire history, I might as well keep this guy on the list. I dropped him from 81 overall to 77, considering that he is a rookie and has no true experience on the Cleveland Browns. So there wasn't anything I could look up on the guy. So obviously, that one's a kind of a rough estimate. At D tackle, Walter Johnson at 89. Michael Dean Perry, he's a solid player right there at D tackle. At left outside linebacker, Clay Matthews Jr. Clay Matthews' dad on the list. He was probably one of the best linebackers in Cleveland Browns history, and that's why he's at 95 overall. No good middle linebackers for Cleveland. I tried really hard to dig in there. Tank Carter and Joe Schobert were on the list. It's just they're obviously 67 overall based on the fact that they really haven't done anything. And then Kimberlin Wimbley at right outside linebacker. He's an actual player who played for the Cleveland Browns. So he's at 75 overall. Corners, pretty solid list right there, including Joe Hayden, Clarence Scott, Hanford Dixon. Again, one day Joe Hayden might be on the Pittsburgh Steelers all-time list of great corners, but until he has more years in Cleveland or in Pittsburgh than Cleveland, he's just going to be on the Cleveland Browns' list. And then at free safety, we got Thom Darden at 80 overall, pretty solid player there. And then Jabril Peppers, again, a rookie, 73 overall, based on the fact that there's no real anything that I could research about the guy. So he's just going to have to sit there at 73 overall. Then we move on to the Buccaneers. This one was a little difficult. So the Houston Texans, the Jacksonville Jaguars, those two teams I gave a little bit of a benefit of the doubt to. Those two teams will get a little bit extra just so that they remain competitive, but they'll probably still not do very well in terms of the overall season in this franchise mode. But obviously Josh Freeman there at 79, and then we've got Jameis Winston at 78. And Chad Henne's here. He's not really a Buccaneers player, I know, but I wasn't going to put him on the Dolphins, that's for sure. Then we got Warwick Dunn at 92 overall, pretty solid player right there, and Doug Martin. And then we've got Jaquez Rogers from Oregon State. All pretty solid running backs. Jaquez Rogers maybe a little high on the overall, but all things considered, again, it's all based on my extensive research on the subject to see whether or not the players are actually in there. Mike Allstott, one of the best fullbacks of all time, sitting there at that 99 spot. And then we got Vincent Jackson at 91, Mike Evans 89, and then the rest of these guys, yeah, they're there. They're there. But again, Tampa Bay doesn't have a whole heck of a lot of history, especially on the offensive side of the football. So all we've got are those two players. And then at tight end, O.J. Howard, the rookie, probably shouldn't be 84 overall, but we'll give him the benefit of the doubt, especially considering that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers don't really have any tight ends. At left tackle, Paul Gruber, 88 overall, pretty solid player there. And then no real left guards. Evan Smith was the best left guard I could find in Tampa Bay history, and he's at 76 overall. Then Joe Hawley at center, 78, same problem. J.R. Sweezy again, and then Donovan Smith at right tackle. But because their best right tackle is 65 overall, their backup left tackle will have to be in that spot. Then we've got the Tampa Bay defense. Now, the Tampa 2 defense is impressive. So, obviously, we're going to get to see a lot of good players on this team. So, Leroy Selman at right end, 92 overall, really solid player. Obviously, because their left end is 85 and their backup right end is 92, that's why he's going to play both. Both players are going to play at right end, or both right ends are going to play the two defensive ends. And then, of course, Simeon Rice, 91 overall, another solid player. Warren Sapp and Gerald McCoy, two solid defensive tackles on that Tampa Bay front. Derek Brooks at right outside linebacker, again, stellar, one of the best defenses in the league when they won the Super Bowl. Then Nickerson and Quarles at those two middle linebacker positions, absolutely terrific players. And Levante David at right outside linebacker, probably their weakest spot on their defense is going to be that right outside linebacker position. Then, of course, you've got Rondé Barber, one of the best corners of all time, Brent Grimes, and then a couple of other guys, I guess, kind of, sort of. Of course, Rondé Barber, another one, based on his career statistics and what I've researched on the guy, dude deserves to be 99 overall. Then we have free safety, not any good, completely useless. And then we have John Lynch, who's actually a really solid, strong safety for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Really, really good player there. Honestly, we could probably put Wilcox at that free safety position, but we'll see. We'll see on that front. Then we've got, for the Cardinals, we got Jim Hart and Kurt Warner. Now, this one's a toughie. I wanted to put Kurt Warner on the Rams because, obviously, when you think of Kurt Warner, the number one, you either think of the more recent Kurt Warner that's on the Cardinals or the Rams. Now, he spent more years in St. Louis with the Rams, but there are so many good quarterbacks in LA Rams history or St. Louis Rams history, depending upon, when they played. But in terms of Rams history, there's so many good quarterbacks, like you'll see in a little while, that I just decided to put Kurt Warner on this list. And of course, Jim Hart for the Cardinals. It's a toss-up. Both of them 98 overall. We're going to start Jim Hart just for the sake of the franchise. Then we've got Otis Anderson and then David Johnson. Again, David Johnson, not a whole heck of a lot, but he's certainly shaping up to be a powerhouse, so he'll sit at 87. But on top of that, he's the backup running back to Otis Anderson. At fullback, Larry Centers, solid fullback, 96 overall, really good player. And then we got Larry Fitzgerald and Quan Bolden at 93, Roy Green and Mel Gray. Some solid wide receivers for this Arizona Cardinals team. Then we've got Jackie Smith at tight end, 94 overall. Troy Nicholas at 76. Troy Nicholas, obviously not a very solid player. And then we got Lewis Sharp, 91 overall left tackle. Ernie McMillan, 89 overall left guard. Bob DeMarco, 85 overall center. Right guard, we've got Ken Gray at 89 overall. Pretty solid player there, too. And then I can't pronounce that guy's last name. But it's 95 overall right tackle. Not too bad. And then we've got Calais Campbell at left end, 90 overall. Pretty solid player right there. And we've got Kyle Vanden Bosch, 82 overall. Not a very solid player, but in terms of Cardinals right ends, he's the best that they got, and that's going to be 82 overall. In a league with a lot of 90 overall players, that's going to kind of hurt this team. And then we got Darnell Dockett, the only defensive tackle that I could really find solidly on the list. Again, all the players in the entire league had statistical values on the website that I mainly searched on. Combined with other research, basically looking up the players, seeing their career statistics and whatnot, making sure that they didn't play for other teams, and taking that into account. The defensive tackles for the Cardinals are just absolutely horrendous for the most part. So we just got Darnell Dockett. They'll probably use that 3-4 defense. Then we got Carlos Dansby, 81 overall left outside linebacker. He's still playing, but in terms of all-time players, he's not really high on that list. Then we've got middle linebackers, again, pretty terrible. And then we've got Larry Stallings, who's actually a really good player for this football team. So the defense for the Cardinals is severely lacking and is going to kind of hurt them a little bit. Then we've got corners, though. They're pretty solid with Roger Whirl, and then we got Arenas Williams and Patrick Peterson, three of the best corners in the game. They're a really solid lineup for that Cardinals secondary. Of course, we got the Honey Badger at 79 overall, and then Larry Wilson at 90. Another solid player there for this Cardinals secondary. Their safety's pretty mad decent, and then their corners pretty mad decent, but their linebackers and defensive line are pretty bad. Then we look at the Chargers. Now this one might draw a lot of controversy with Phillip Rivers and Dan Fouts being both 99 overall. Now, Phillip Rivers is one of the top 10 all-time in passing yards in the league, and based on how long he's been with the Chargers and what he's done for this team, based on research and where the main website had placed him, he's going to be 99 overall and be the starter for the LA Chargers. And it's just, I mean, there are some solid quarterbacks for this Chargers team, and they are really good at that quarterback position. It's just whether or not, y'all agree with it, it's really up in the air. Then, of course, we got LaDainian Tomlinson, one of the best running backs in the entire history of the league. 21 rushing touchdowns in a single season. That's just wild. Melvin Gordon at 83. That one was a little difficult to exactly place, but we'll keep him at 83. And then Brandon Oliver at 80. Probably the best players there. Then we got Charlie Joyner, Lance Allsworth, Gary Garrison, Travis Benjamin. A pretty solid wide receiver core for that LA Chargers team. And then obviously Antonio Gates and Kellen Winslow, two of the best tight ends to ever play the game. That's something that the Chargers have as one of their strongest attributes, is those two tight ends. And then, of course, we got Russ Washington, Doug Wilkerson, some solid offensive linemen, 82, 87 overall centers, Walt Sweeney, who's amazing, and then Ron Mix. Just the LA Chargers' offensive line is amazing all around. Joey Bosa, this guy is incredible. To go to just play one season and be rated 91 overall in Madden is amazing. I dropped him down 5 overall points to 86, considering that it is only his second season on the field. But it was really hard for me to drop him any lower than that, considering just how outstanding he has done for this LA Chargers team since joining them. And then at right end, we got Leslie O'Neal, 90 overall, pretty solid right end there. And then 2 solid defensive tackles. I don't know why the 90 overall player is lower on the list, but he is. And then we've got Sean Merriman at left outside linebacker. Ooh, solid player right there. And then we've got a couple of pretty mediocre, average linebackers. Not really anything too substantial. And then, of course, we got Junior Seau, who is just outstanding. He was an amazing player when he was playing in the NFL. Then we've got at corners Gil Bird, Quentin Jammer, Jason Verrett. Pretty solid cornerback core. Eric Weddle at free safety. And we've got Desmond King at strong safety, which sadly enough, this is their best strong safety in the history of their program. Yeah, pretty sad that that's the case, but that's all we got is Desmond King at 68 overall. Again, put a lot of research and time and effort into making this roster, and that's the best they had. Then we got the Chiefs. We got Len Dawson, obviously a spectacular player right there. Trent Green, pretty solid. Alex Smith and Patty Mahomes. I was thinking of putting Alex Smith on the 49ers, but it wouldn't really matter considering that the 49ers, obviously, they got Joe Montana, they got Steve Young, and then he would also be at the very most the third quarterback, but I'm pretty sure there's another guy on that list that's also insane, who it's going to look very similar to the Chargers. We got Larry Johnson and Priest Holmes, which are both 89 overall in terms of how well they played. Obviously, Jamal Charles, 86. Spencer Ware. I mean, their running back core is amazing. And then we've got Kareem Hunt here, who's a good running back so far. But damn, like those four running backs just take the cake for the football team there. We got Otis Taylor as the number one wide receiver, sitting at 91. Dwayne Bowie, Chris Conley. I mean, they got two solid wide receivers, but obviously another thing that, based on how you've seen their running backs, that's one of the biggest things that they were known for, was running the football. And then at tight end, Tony Gonzalez and Travis Kelce, two solid tight ends on that front. Then we got 99 overall left tackle Jim Chire, Ed Budd. We got Tim whatever that guy's name was. Will Shields at right guard, and John Alt at left tackle, the backup left tackle, but he'll be playing right tackle for the sake of argument. Then we got Jerry Mays at left end, solid 96. In fact, their backup is Tamba Hali, who's 91. Two very solid defensive ends. Then we got Neil Smith at right end, and Art Still, again, two solid right ends on that front as well. Defensive tackle Buck Buchanan and Bernie Logan. The Chiefs' defense is just outstanding. And then you've got Bobby. I know what that says. I was not the one to make that mistake, but it's Bobby Bell. Bobby Bell at left outside linebacker, and Derek Johnson at the other left outside linebacker, and Justin Houston. I mean, just this team is absolutely amazing. And again, I apologize for the misspelling of that guy's name, because that is, I mean, wow. Interesting. So then we got a middle linebacker, Willie Lanier, and then we got Cheryl Hedrick, a pretty solid middle linebacking core, and then Derek Thomas and Jim Lynch. Just absolutely outstanding defense. And then we even go down to their top two corners, being Albert Thomas and Emmett Thomas. Two really solid players. Even Terrence Mitchell, not bad at 79. Then we've got Deron Cherry at free safety, 86 overall. Really solid player right there. And then we've got Eric Berry at 82. He's pretty good player right there. Not too bad. I'm just going through real fast. If you want to skip this, that's fine. But I was just going to show you all that, what we're stacking up for, and to show off this roster before we really get into it. Then I don't know why Johnny Unitas automatically starts over Peyton Manning, but Peyton Manning will start. Johnny Unitas is also 99 overall. If you saw there for a second, the glitch here for this game is impressive. And then Bart Jones at 91 overall, not too bad. Endrin James, surprisingly, 99 overall. I was a little skeptical about this as well. Now, I know y'all might think I'm fucking crazy for putting this guy at 99 overall, but based on, again, this is all based on statistics and research that I did, and I tried to make it as unbiased as possible, and this guy just ended up 99 overall. And then we got Landon Mitchell and Joseph Adai. Now, if you look, this guy doesn't necessarily have the most amazing stats in the entire world. He is mostly a pass-blocking running back, which is one of the reasons why he ends up 99 overall, which is kind of crazy. And it's also part of the scheme. The Indianapolis Colts' scheme puts him at 99 overall. That's just how that works. And then we've got Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne, Lenny Moore, Raymond Berry, four of the best wide receivers to ever play the game playing for the Colts. That's going to be a little crazy. Dallas Clark at tight end, pretty solid player there. Then we've got some good offensive linemen, Jim Parker, Jeff Saturday, 97 overall. Jack Mewart, Bob Vogel, some pretty solid players. Gino Marchetti, Dwight Freeney, Fred Miller, solid players right here. Don Shinnick, Mike Curtis. I want to try and get through this a little quickly, just so that way, we can move on to the actual games. Free safety Antoine Bethea and Bob Sanders at strong safety. Not too bad at all. Um, but for those of you who are interested, obviously, if you've at least stayed to this point, I'm very happy. Thanks a lot for your support. Um, but for those of you who are wondering, basically what we're going to do is we're going to have about, I believe, 3 games per week where we see which team is the better team, and we see how the games play out, and we're going to see which of these all-time teams is the best, and that's the kind of idea we're going for. Honestly, I kind of want to skip most of these. You can check out the roster we're using by going to BITW 9000 and looking up this created roster. You can go on there. You can check out, what we're looking at in terms of those those uh, those players, and then you can just look for yourself. Um, I do apologize for taking a lot of time there going through those players. I should have just said that from the start and moved on. So what's going to be interesting is, for the interest of fairness, I'm not going to be playing the games, but we'll have the games being played out on here. So this is the very first episode of the series. If there's anything you want me to change or edit about the series, make sure to let me know in the comment section down below. This is the first video of the day that I'm going to be performing, I guess you could say. And, well, we're going to do some more sports-related videos here in the near future. Also, if you guys are interested in, obviously, the Pokemon stuff, make sure you go check out the White 2 Super Ultra Extreme Randomizer Nuzlocke. That's going to be really interesting. I should have episode 2 being uploaded as we speak, so that should be really interesting there. So what we're going to do is we're going to check out this week's games in the league, and we're going to be doing about 3 of them per week. So you'll see a lot of these episodes, 3 episodes per week here. So there's 17 weeks, obviously, which means there should be several episodes. Each one should be about an hour in length because of how long the game lasts. So what we're going to do is we're going to check out some of these games. I think we're going to start things off with the Steelers and no. This one's a kind of a tough one to see which one we should start off with. I definitely want to do both of the Monday night games. What I might do is I might just do the Sunday and 2 Monday night games for the opening week. And then next week we'll probably try to stay away from those 6 teams, just so that way we can try. Actually, the Seahawks-Packers game will be really interesting. I just need to go and double check the depth charts for these teams real quick to make sure that Brett Favre is starting for the Packers, and because Aaron Rodgers is also 99 overall. So Roger Staubach, nice. Dan Marino, Donovan McNabb, Matt Ryan, Steve Young over Joe Montana. That's not going to be a thing. Eli Manning, Mark Brunell, Joe Namath, Matt Stafford, Aaron Rodgers over Brett Favre. We're going to put Brett Favre in just because this is an all-time team and we see Aaron Rodgers. You could just play as Aaron Rodgers in the game, and he's just about in the Packers' team. Aaron Rodgers is still going to be the same overall. Then move on from that, and I think the rest should be relatively good. A pretty solid Rams lineup there. Joe Flacco at 91 might be a little bit too giving on that overall, but that's what it has him at. So then yeah, the rest of it should be pretty solid. So I think we're going to start with the Seahawks and the Packers game, just because that one seems like it's going to be an interesting football matchup right there. So obviously I will not be actually playing the game. I don't want to interfere with the legitness of this simulation. It's kind of like if you watch WWE content, most of the people don't actually compete in the universe modes and stuff, because that way it's less biased and everything will end up being much better and much more fair. This will kind of be the same thing. I won't actually be playing, but I'll commentate the game and talk about in particular aspects of what's going on in this game, and we can kind of hear and you guys can understand what's going on. So yeah, so we're going to get this thing started with the Green Bay Packers at home against Seattle. A pretty solid matchup. We got Brett Favre and the Packers against, I believe, Matt Hasselbeck is the starting quarterback for the Seahawks. So we'll get to see that. It's kind of, the Seahawks are pretty good because they have the Legion of Boom with that solid offense that was in Super Bowl 40. A really solid mix there. And then, of course, the Packers have a long history of great players. So they got Brett Favre. They got, Donald Driver. They've got Greg Jennings. They've got some pretty solid players, dating all the way back to Super Bowl I. There's Paul Hornung. I believe that's going to be their starting running back. They have some really solid players on their side of the ball, too. So it should be interesting to see, what goes on in this series. Right now, obviously, I turned the commentary off. That way, I can do the commentary. So we got Sean Alexander versus Paul Hornung, a pretty solid running back matchup right there, and Lambeau Field in Green Bay. So this is where our first matchup is going to be, the battle of two of the heavyweights in the NFC. And it's going to be really interesting to see what happens in this football game, because I did a simulation mode using this roster before, and this game kind of had some odd outcomes because I did it a couple of times. Obviously, that's Marshawn Lynch right there. He's going to be the number 2 running back, and things are going to be really interesting in this franchise mode, because I'm going to try and keep it completely unbiased, and I believe I did that with my player overalls. So this kick is going to go to Tyler Lockett at the 22-yard line. He's going to take it out to about 3 yards shy of where it would be if he let the ball go into the end zone. Of course, it's raining here, which should be interesting for the turnover margin. There's Matt Hasselbeck, as you can see, 92 overall rating, not too shabby. I tried to make most of the players' numbers accurate. It's a little difficult to do, though, considering some players have, multiple numbers or have the same number as someone else. So there's Matt Hasselbeck going to T.J. Houshmandzadeh for 14 yards and a first down. T.J. Houshmandzadeh was a little bit of a difficult decision to whether he should play for the Seahawks or the Bengals. Obviously, I ended up going with the Seahawks just because he played there a lot longer, but the Bengals really could use some more players on their team just because of their overall poor history in that department. And that one's going to go, I believe, that is Golden Tate III. I met that guy. He's pretty awesome. Big Notre Dame fan for myself. Obviously, he's played on Seattle more than Detroit in terms of total years, which is one of the reasons why I ended up keeping him on or putting him on the Seattle Seahawks football team. I believe he's 89 overall in the play scheme, but 87 overall just without a play scheme. And there he is again with a nice 5-yard gain. I believe we're going to get the offense for the Seahawks so you can see exactly what they're working with. A pretty decent offensive line. Walter Jones, a really solid tackle. And we got TJ Houshmandzadeh, Steve Largent's amazing, Sean Alexander. A really solid Seattle offense in this football game. It's going to be really interesting to see exactly where these teams play or how they play out. And there's an interception by Sam Shields, and he's going to take it all the way for the touchdown. So a pick six on the opening drive for the Seattle Seahawks from Matt Hasselbeck. Sam Shields with the interception return for a touchdown. And I got to tell you, just from watching, I've been watching a few of these games. It's actually wildly entertaining to watch these teams play it out. And from what I've seen, defense is very, very important in these simulation games. And that's going to be something that's going to come into a huge factor, especially early on, because obviously the Seahawks down 7-0. And here comes Golden Tate on the return. So an interception return for a touchdown. It's the very first score of the Madden franchise mode episode 1. 33 yards completions for Matt Hasselbeck, but a pick off the bat, and that's going to be devastating for the Seahawks offense to start this game off. It hasn't even been 2 minutes yet, and already a 7-0 deficit to overcome to a very good Green Bay Packers team, and that's going to be a 0-yard gain. And let's check out this Packers defense that has already scored in this football game. So we got a pretty solid defensive line, nothing too special though. A really, really good linebacking core, and some really, really solid secondary play, as you've seen already from that pick six. Well, these two, this offense and this defense are pretty solid. Honestly, running the football might be the best bet for this offense, but that linebacking core is so good that it's going to be very difficult to do that with. If I remember correctly, Clay Matthews is like 91 overall. Ray Nitschke, I believe, is 98 or 99. He's a really solid middle linebacker. So their linebacking core is really impressive, to be honest with you. So there's a play action on 3rd and 10, and he throws it to Vanette, and that's a first down to about the 46. So that put Matt Hasselbeck at 54 yards passing on the day. A really solid first quarter to have 54 yards, but that pick is really going to come back to bite them if they don't score on this possession. And there's a sack. The first sack of the day goes to, I believe his name's Henry. Yes, Henry Jordan on the sack. That's going to be a really impressive start to the game for the Green Bay Packers, as that's going to put them at 2nd and 18, and that's going to force them into a throwing situation here unless they want to go with the surprise quarter. Oh, there it is. And it does not work very well at all. That's 3 rushes for 0 yards for Sean Alexander, and that's going to put it at a 3rd and 19 for this Seattle offense. Marshawn Lynch out of the backfield. Matt Hasselbeck going deep, and he gets it to TJ Houshmandzadeh, who just tiptoes along the sideline, and he's got the first down. So a pretty impressive play there. And the Seahawks grab the first down on a 19 yards away from the first down. Well, Matt Hasselbeck going in the shotgun, and he grabs it, and he gives it to Vanette again for a nice little 6-yard gain, and that is going to bring it up to 2nd and 4. Well, 7 pass plays, only 3 rush plays for the Seattle offense, and they're really looking to throw the football. There's a nice spin move from Sean Alexander, and he's not able to break the second tackler, and that puts him at 11 rushing yards here on the second drive of the game. the Packers have yet to have an offensive possession, and that's got to be wearing out this defense. They might be up 7-0, but they've got to be tired and heaving. Marshawn Lynch with a negative 2-yard run. That puts them at 2nd and 12 here. Well, it should be interesting to see how... I mean, this game is going to be important in the NFC playoff picture towards the end of the year, especially with tiebreakers and stuff and how good both of these teams are. That's just going to be how that's going to go. And another loss on that play puts them at 3rd and 15. Well, Seattle's in a tough division because the Cardinals are pretty solid on offense, and they've got the LA Rams, who have both an offense and a defense that is really impressive. And there's a nice pass to Wilson, the tight end. That puts Matt Hasselbeck over 100 yards passing here in the first 2 drives. They've had the ball for the entirety of the first quarter, except for about 10 seconds of the pick-6 time. And they're in scoring range. There's a pitch out to Sean Alexander, a juke move, and he's down to the 1-yard line. That'll put him at 2nd and goal from the 1. So a pretty solid play there by Sean Alexander. And it'll be 2nd and goal here. And there's a nice little pitch again, but this one's going to drop him down for a 4-yard loss. And that puts Sean Alexander at less than 2 yards per carry. It's got to be very impressive for this Green Bay Packers defense. Ha-ha Clinton Dix on the tackle. And then Matt Hasselbeck tossing it. It bounces off a player, and that's going to be 4th and goal. So the defense holding up strong, and that's going to force them to kick a field goal. One of the this kicker has a tough time of making field goals even at this distance, as Blair Walsh will actually put it down the center, and it's going to be 7-3 Green Bay with the lead. So Green Bay's offense is finally going to take the field unless something crazy happens. And that's going to go deep in the back of the end zone on this rainy day, as Green Bay's offense starts their very first possession of the game. And here comes the man himself, Brett Favre, a legendary player to say the least. He is a very, very solid player, but he also leads the league in interceptions all time in a career. So we'll have to see exactly how good this offense does. And there's an option. Brett Favre on the option, and he pitches it to Hornung, who gets the first down on about a 13-yard gain for a first down. So a really solid option play. I didn't see that coming at all from Brett Favre. I'd be a little worried if I was him as well, considering how dangerous it is to get hit. And there's another option play. So I'm going to apologize right now. We got to start this over. You see, I created my own playbook that I use for my other franchise mode, and I forget that even though I turned the system all the way off, it still automatically sets to that. And that's why they're running the option. So we're going to start this all the way over, and I, again, apologize greatly for this mishap. It's going to be... It's a huge apology. As you can see, option offense, that's not what I wanted. We're going to go with Green Bay's offense here, and I'm going to... again, I am so sorry if I wasted your time. Please forgive me and my inability to do this properly. So we're going to try this again from the top, and we're going to see if this works. So you kind of got a taste for how this series is going to go, because I want to make it, again, as unbiased as possible. So I want you guys to see all-time teams take each other on and see what goes on, and that's going to include players from the present and the past. It's really something interesting, to say the least, especially, all things considered. We're going to we're just going to check this out. So the Seahawks are, in fact, going to get the football again. So please forgive my ignorance. It's something that just slipped my mind. So we're going to try this again as Lockett's going to get the return here and take it out to about the 27-yard line. So a better return than last time, to say the least. So Matt Hasselbeck, we already know who their quarterback is and what he's like. So we're gonna see if this is gonna be a little bit different, considering that, you know, things are gonna be hopefully a lot better. And my goodness, Sean Alexander with a couple spin moves gets it out 14 yards for a first down to the 41-yard line. So this is going to be a little bit different, and I do apologize for that. I know if you were rooting for Green Bay, I'm so sorry if it turns out that they go down 7-0 here on the opening drive. It's my own fault, and I will take responsibility for that. I almost want to just play a different game instead because I kind of killed it. But we're gonna continue on with this, and we're gonna see what happens here as this game goes. So a nice 7-yard pickup there. It's going to be 3 yards to get the first, and he's going to be tackled behind the line of scrimmage for a yard loss. And Henry Jordan has been making some big plays, at least in these first game. I want to say these first game because like it's the first game still, but it's multiple first games, I guess. I don't know. And there's a nice little pitch and catch play to my boy Golden Tate. 12-yard gain. Obviously, you know, this is going to be a very interesting situation to see how the Seahawks can progress here. And there's a nice pass to the running back who gets 9 yards, and he'll be just a yard shy of gaining the first down. So Matt Hasselbeck 2 for 2, a much better drive this time for the Seahawks as we go through this simulation franchise. Matt Hasselbeck going to run the football to Marshawn Lynch for no gain. And we already know the offense and defense for Seattle, as it was on the field for a long time in the last version of the game, which I again apologize for. The Seahawks are going to run the football again. Marshawn Lynch gains about 5 yards or so, 4 yards, gains the first down. So that'll be a very big first down there for Marshawn Lynch and the Seahawks, as they're now within the 30-yard line and getting ready to try and score here. There's his Sean Alexander run up the middle for 4 yards, and that'll mean a 2nd and 7 incoming. Actually, it really should be 2nd and 6 if that was truly a 4-yard gain. But 2nd and 7 from the 29, and there's another running play. So this is a lot different than the last time, but that one goes for negative yards as he'll be brought down way behind the line of scrimmage, and a 3rd and 11, 4-yard loss for the Seahawks. As the Hawks look to try and make something happen here, and there's a flag on the play, so this should be interesting to see what happens on this, and that's going to be a neutral zone infraction on the defense. So Green Bay's going to give them 5 yards as Willie Davis jumping a little bit offside here. So back to a 3rd and 6. And the Seahawks have a much easier 3rd down on this play. And Matt Hasselbeck looking to throw the football. And he's having some trouble, and he's going to be taken down 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage as Ray Nitschke, the middle linebacker, with the sack. And here comes a field goal. This one's going to be a 44-yard field goal attempt in the rain from Blair Walsh. And let's see if he actually makes this kick. And he does. So unlike in real life, this guy can actually kick the football. So 3-0 here as the Seahawks get ready to kick this ball away to the Green Bay Packers on the return. As Charles Woodson takes it out, he was kind of hesitant, and that cost him about 5 yards, as he'll only take it to the 20. Yeah, that little stutter step that he had, that's really going to hurt him if that turns out to be a big factor in terms of starting field position, as Brett Favre in the shotgun. And he's going to give the ball off to Paul Hornung on a shotgun handoff for about 13, 12 yards and a first down. So a big-time play for Green Bay off the bat, and it's a first down as they're trying to get back in this football game, down 3-0. Well, I got to say that one of the biggest things for this football team is going to be running the football. I think Paul Hornung is going to need to be a major factor, especially with how Brett Favre likes to force the football. So we got a solid offensive line for the Green Bay Packers. And then there's Paul Hornung, Jamal Williams, Greg Jennings, Donald Driver, and Martellus Bennett. Now, Martellus Bennett, I was going to put on the Patriots, but it was kind of one of those things where either I forgot or I just didn't care enough because, Packers don't really have a tight end anyway. So there's a solid gain there as Paul Hornung has 21 yards on this opening drive. That'll be 3rd and 1. So running the football effectively, and now for whatever reason on 1 yard to gain, they go into empty with Brett Favre. And they chuck the ball over to Donald Driver, and that's going to be about a 10-yard gain for a first down. A solid gain on that one, and that's going to put them in Seattle territory as the Legion of Boom on their heels to start this drive. Now, all players from the Legion of Boom are a little bit worse considering that they're all super young, but not worse enough. And that's going to be an incomplete pass. Double covered Donald Driver, unable to receive the football successfully. And here's that defensive line, not a bad defensive front there, but that linebacking core, really solid. I believe no players, at least very few players from this defense, as you can kind of tell, are new. The Legion of Boom owns this defense, and they are the best, one of the best defenses of all time. And because of that, they have a lot of statistical value in terms of at least the few sites that I was investigating. So there's a nice little pitch and catch there for about 4 yards, and that'll bring up a 3rd and 6. The Seahawks defense allowing them to complete the pass, but keeping it in front of the yellow marker. So that's going to be important in this football game. As Brett Favre from the 50 drops back to pass, throws it, and he gets it to Shannon Sharp, the tight end, for a nice solid gain. Actually, Sterling, sorry, not Shannon. That's a completely different team. Sterling Sharp with the reception, the tight end there. And now here comes another run play, and Paul Hornung unable to get back to the line of scrimmage there, -2 yards on that one. It's going to be interesting. This game is going to determine a lot in the NFC race, especially early in the season. And with how good these two teams are, it could end up being a major factor in terms of tiebreakers. Almost intercepted, but a defensive lineman unable to hold on to the pass, as Brett Favre will set up for a 3rd and 12. They were able to get the completion on 3rd down last time. And he throws it deep and way too far out of bounds, and that's going to bring up 4th and 12. This is going to be a long field goal attempt if they try it. And they will. So a 52-yard field goal in the rain. This is going to be really tough to pull off for the Green Bay Packers. Is Aaron Rodgers the holder on this play? And it's blocked. And recovered by Seattle, as Brock with the recovery, and the Packers are going to have to play defense early on here, just barely inside Seattle territory, as a blocked field goal. And the Legion of Boom is booming to start this series. A nice little juke move by Sean Alexander. He's going to drop a yard back, though, and it's going to be 2nd down and 11. 8 rush plays, only 2 pass plays, the complete opposite of what happened in the very first time these two teams played. It's kind of odd to say that. But another little run play for -1 yards, and it's going to be 3rd and 12. So Seattle's trying to force the run game. It's just not working right now against Green Bay's defense. Most of the yards they've picked up are through the air on those couple of pass plays. And there's a nice pass, and he's got it to the wideout, and that's going to be a huge play to Steve Largent, and a first down, 23-yard reception for one of the better receivers, the best receiver in Seattle history, 23 yards on his very first reception of the game, and that's going to bring up first down and 10. About 3 minutes to go in the first quarter. He's going to pass it to the running back here, and he's just barely going to get to the line of scrimmage. Not even. Didn't even make it to the line of scrimmage. A negative 1 yard pass play on that one. Now in the I formation, Seattle going back. They're going to pass from the I formation. He dumps it off to Reese, and that's going to be a nice little pickup there. Matt Hasselbeck 5 for 50 yards to start the game. And it's going to be too much for Ray Nitschke and this Green Bay defense to handle so far. Now a single back. They're going to pass out of this formation too, and TJ Houshmandzadeh for a first down. So 6 for 6, and Seattle is rolling on this possession. Absolutely incredible play for the Seattle Seahawks offense. I gotta say though, the Packers defense is definitely not the Packers' strong suit, but they do have some solid players, and they're just getting blown back right now through the passing game. So a 0-yard gain there, and it's going to be second down and 10. Green Bay's defense has been able to hold the run to nearly nothing, but the passing game for the Seahawks has just been all over this Green Bay secondary. Now here comes another pass play. They're going to dump it off to TJ Houshmandzadeh for a short little 4-yard gain. And it's going to be third down and 6 in the red zone. Well, Seattle definitely has an opportunity here to make this a 2-score football game if they can get in the end zone. Will they be able to? That's a nice little dump pass. Incomplete, though. Unable to hold on to the pass. That's 4th and 6. And this defensive football game continues. 18 seconds to go in the first quarter. And Blair Walsh, one of the least accurate kickers in the league, will come on to make the kick. And he puts it through. So it's not going to be a repeat of Minnesota. He's actually been able to kick the football successfully, which is kind of a surprise, to be honest with you. But 6-0 Seattle in this very defensive football game. Randall Cobb takes it from about 10 yards deep and only gets to the 18. A terrible decision by Randall Cobb to take that one out. Has 85 yards of offense for Seattle, only 46 for Green Bay, as the Legion of Boom able to successfully stop the passing game, but the running game has been a problem for this Seattle defense to handle. A blocked field goal. A blocked field goal, the only reason the Seattle Seahawks have a 6-point lead instead of a 3-point lead. But that's something Seattle's known for as we reach the end of the first quarter. And it is an exciting 6-0 football game for the Seattle Seahawks as they lead it 6-0 here at the end of the first quarter in this all-time first game of the Madden 18 franchise mode. If you guys are just joining us, this is the all-time Super Legends team for both of these teams playing each other in this franchise mode. We're going to be doing 3 games per week of the NFL season to see which of these all-time teams is the best. If you want to upload the roster, just go to BITW 9000 on Madden 18 and you can get the roster and download it so you can see exactly what these 2 teams are working with, as well as the rest of the 30 teams in the NFL. As that's going to bring up 4th down for the Green Bay Packers. They're going to be forced to punt the football. It's going to be interesting to see whether or not the Packers can successfully stop the Seattle passing game. It's been kind of interesting to see if that this team is unable to do that. What a punt, and he gets it down to the 9-yard line. So a spectacular punt by the Packers, and that's going to net a 69-yard punt. And man, what an incredible performance by the punter. I believe Vogel is his last name. Solid punt there. And they're going to run the football, something Green Bay has been successful at so far. But Shaun Alexander breaks into open field, and he's going to take it all the way to the 45-yard line. What a run on that play for Shaun Alexander. Unbelievable play for the Seahawks as they get the first down to the 45-yard line. and that is going to be a first down, and they lead it 6-0 already as the Packers defense unable to get anything going. And then there's Reese for a first down, a nice little dump pass, and the Packers defense unable to get anything going on this possession so far. And man, it's been all Seattle all game long. Absolutely incredible numbers. And there's a fake handoff. He's going to dump it to Steve Largent, who gains about 11 yards for the first down. And another play for the Seattle Seahawks offense. And Green Bay has just been unable to stop these guys all game long. It's been absolutely incredible to see this Seattle offense in their element. And they have just been able to so far dominate the Packers. And there's a nice little defensive stop for 0 yards. It's one of the few times they've been able to stop this offense in this game so far. It's been all Seattle all game long, and it's been absolutely incredible as Vanette with a nice little catch, and that puts Matt Hasselbeck over 100 yards in this game as it will be 3rd and 2. Seattle's just been absolutely incredible in this game so far. It's been absolutely insane. And from the I formation, Seattle running the football here, and he takes it for just enough, 2 yards and a first down. So Seattle getting it inside the 25-yard line to the 21-yard line on this possession, and it's been a just methodical drive, dominating and slowly destroying this Green Bay defense. But will they actually be able to get in the end zone, something Green Bay has not allowed in this game? As Clay Matthews with a half a sack there, he was the one to really get in there and cause the penetration. 2nd and 18 for the Seattle Seahawks offense. Matt Hasselbeck in the offset I formation, and he's going to hand the ball off to Sean Alexander, and he is just stuffed for another 3-yard loss. And it's going to be 3rd and 22 for this offense outside the red zone to the 32-yard line. And they're going to go in the empty, probably to throw the football deep and try and get that first down. I would not trust Blair Walsh from here, but he gets the pass and he successfully grabs it to the 27 for a 4th and 17. And they're going to go for Blair Walsh with a 44-yard field goal attempt. And I got to say, this is going to be a very tough kick for this guy to be able to make. And it's blocked! Another blocked kick in this game, but this time the Butler's going to take it all the way. The 30, the 25, the 20, the 10, the 5, touchdown Green Bay, and they take the lead. And one play in the entire shift of the game has come to Green Bay's way as the crowd goes absolutely nuts on a blocked kick returned for a touchdown. I don't think Blair Walsh would have made that kick in the first place, but man, oh man, look at this block as he is able to get his hands on the ball, and Green Bay scores the touchdown. And with this extra point, Green Bay takes a 1-point lead. Almost, man, 2 blocked field goals in one game. This is absolutely wild. What an incredible football game so far here with 8:30 to go in the first half. It was all Seattle until just a moment ago, and the entire momentum of the game just swayed Green Bay's way in a matter of seconds. As Golden Tate with a 28-yard return to the 26-yard line, and it's going to be a first down for Seattle. Seattle's offense has been doing their way with the Green Bay Packers defense until they get to the red zone. 3 straight forced field goals, but one was blocked. And Sean Alexander with a nice little 3-yard scamper to get to a 2nd and 8 here. Well, it was roughly 3 yards. And 1 point separates these two teams in one of the more defensive football games you'll see. As 2 blocked field goals in one game. It's absolutely incredible. And there's a nice little spin move by Sean Alexander, and he takes it for a first down. That puts him over 50 yards rushing on the game so far here in the second quarter. And a nice tackle there by Charles Woodson. Shotgun formation, single backfield. And it's going to be a pass play. Dumps it off, and it's almost intercepted. That was a dangerous play by Matt Hasselbeck as the defender jumped on that play. and almost getting the interception. That was really scary for the Seattle offense to almost give another touchdown to the Packers, and Ray Nitschke on the blitz destroys Sean Alexander on second down, and it's going to be 3rd and 14, all the way back from about the 33-yard line. Seattle with one running back in the backfield, shotgun, and he throws the football, intercepted, and Sam Shields, touchdown, and the Packers, just like that, in just 4 plays, well, actually a little less than that, in about 6 plays, just turned the game on its head, and 2 turnovers for the Seahawks lead to 2 touchdowns, and it's 14-6 Green Bay with the lead. Wow, I can't believe that the entire game just shifted on its head in just about 2 minutes of playtime, as Sam Shields with the pick 6, and it's 14-6 Green Bay. Absolutely incredible, as the Green Bay Packers are able to take a 14-6 8-point lead on 2 defensive plays. And Sean Alexander gets about 12 yards for the first down here. That puts him over 60 yards here in the first half. Man, Green Bay with just 2 plays, and all of a sudden they have the lead. And just when you think Green Bay had no chance at winning this football game, they have a 14-6 lead. As this new era of football begins for us, I hope you guys are enjoying this episode. Make sure you leave that thumbs up button with a like and comment in the comment section down below. You can let me know how I'm doing, what you want to see different, games that you want to see. Of course, this schedule is identical to the one in real life, which means that you guys know what games are available to watch. Of course, this is going to be a little different. Instead of some teams being terrible like the Colts, now they have Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison and Reggie Wayne, and they're actually really good. So you could definitely take that into consideration on which games you want to see in the coming weeks. But right now, 14-6 Green Bay, a defensive stop, a rare defensive stop for the Green Bay Packers. They did get 2 turnovers, which directly led to 2 touchdowns. But all things considered, that was their first defensive stop of the game. As Brett Favre finally back out onto the field as they try and get the defense some rest. And that's going to be a nice little pitch and catch there, a diving catch for 7 yards, and a 2nd and 3 now, as 3:50 to go here in the first half. Not a lot of offense produced by either of these 2 teams. The defenses have been absolutely incredible, as Paul Hornung takes it for about 0 yards, and it'll be about 3rd and 2. So a pretty solid football game right now for both of these teams, and I gotta say it's been an absolutely impressive performance for both of these squads on defense. There's a nice little run play that puts him at 29 yards rushing for Paul Hornung, and it'll be a first down for this Green Bay Packers offense as they're trying to give their defense some rest here. Line up in the I formation with 2:35 and counting to go in this game. And Donald Driver with the pitch and catch takes it all the way up to the 45-yard line for a first down. So a pretty solid play there for Green Bay, and they grab the first down by the horns, and they're driving right now on this drive. And almost intercepted. Terrence Brock. And he's going to take it all the way to score, and defense is winning this game for both teams, as no touchdowns on offense have been scored in this game so far, and 3 touchdowns have been scored in this game. Look at this play, a nice jump there by Brock with 2 minutes to go here in this football game, and a nice play as they're going to go for the extra point. Now, I'm a little curious on this call not to go for 2 here, but he kicks it through the uprights, and that's going to be a 1-point game separating these 2 teams as the Packers get the football back after a pick six. So both teams with blocked field goals and both teams with an interception return for a touchdown, and both teams are just separated by 1 point. 1:50 to go, first half, as the Seattle Seahawks offense didn't even have to come out onto the field for their last touchdown, as Brett Favre throws the ball to Greg Jennings for about 8 yards, and it'll be second down. That puts Brett Favre at 60 yards passing exactly here in the first half so far, as defense has dominated this game, as both defenses have allowed very few total yards of offense in this game. Coming off the corner here, Brett Favre grabs it for about 3 yards and a first down. So first down and 10 for the Green Bay Packers. This 1 point game led by the home team. And they're going to line up in the offset pistol. And Brett Favre, jumping up in the pocket, throws it to Donald Driver for about 5-6 yards. 2nd and 4. Green Bay looking to try and score here. They get the football back to, they get the football to start the second half. So Green Bay with an opportunity. They pass the 50-yard line down to about the 48 here, as a 1 minute remaining, 1 minute and 1 second remaining in this first half. So an impressive play there. Jordy Nelson's second reception for just 14 yards, and it'll be a first down. And now here comes Brett Favre in the shotgun, and he throws it off to Martellus Bennett for about 3 yards. And it'll be second down and 7, a timeout called by the Green Bay Packers. They have just 1 remaining here in the half. Should be interesting to see exactly where this team ends up. And now here comes the shotgun, Brett Favre. And he's going to try and throw it, and he gets it off to Greg Jennings successfully as he gets hit. And that's going to be a first down. So an impressive play here for the Green Bay Packers and a first down. And that is going to put them within field goal range for their kicker, but they're going to try and score a touchdown anyway. Don't really blame them there, as here in the shotgun, Brett Favre throwing the football, and he gets it to his running back for no yards. Either that or it was incomplete. Either way, that is going to be a 2nd and 10 here from about the 30, 27 actually. Paul Hornung with a nice little pitch and catch there that puts Brett Favre at 99 yards passing, and it'll be 3rd down and 7 as time ticks within 20 seconds of the first half being over. And now here comes Brett Favre, and he's going to throw the football, and he's going to get it to Donald Driver down to the 12-yard line, and they're going to call a timeout reluctantly with 7 seconds to go, and they're going to go on offense. If they get sacked here, this could be game over, at least series over for the Packers. But they're going to risk it all and go for the touchdown here. And they throw it, and it's intercepted by Richard Sherman, and he's going to take it. He's going to take it to the 20, to the 25 as time expires here in the third quarter, so no extra score for the Green Bay Packers, and we head into halftime. Well, what an exciting defensive football game we've seen here as the first half comes to an end. And let's just check out some of these stats for both of these teams so far in this football game. It's been kind of wild, to say the least, as right now Green Bay leading the score 14-13. They have more passing yards than Seattle, but way less rushing yards. They're averaging 5 yards per play. As you can see, it's already 3-0 here, and a nice little pitch and catch to Donald Driver, which ends up being a first down, as the Green Bay Packers tried to start driving here, but instead, Sam Shields there with a pick. That makes it 13-6 if you were missing any part of this game so far, as the Green Bay Packers then takes the lead off of that interception. And then after the extra point, an interception by Terrence Brock, and that's going to lead it all the way back for a touchdown to put it to 12, and then 13-14. So that's what basically the entire first half of football for these teams. And then, of course, the interception by Richard Sherman to end the first half. An incredible interception by the Seattle Seahawks as the Green Bay Packers set to receive to start this second half. So it's been an exciting first half of football. Both teams, no offensive touchdowns, 3 turnovers for the Seahawks and 2 for the Green Bay Packers. I believe. No, the other way around. 3 turnovers for the Packers, 2 for the Seahawks. As Brett Favre in the shotgun, no one else backfield, and he throws it deep, and he gets it to Donald Driver to the 49-yard line for a first down, and an incredible play here by the Green Bay Packers gets them into the almost to the plus territory as they make it to their own 49-yard line, and that puts Donald Driver at 71 receiving yards here in this game so far. That's going to be a 0-yard run by Paul Hornung. He only has 29 rushing yards in this football game as the Legion of Boom's defense has really been able to stop the run in this football game so far. 20 pass plays for the offense, only 10 run plays as Brett Favre has been trying to put this team on his back. He goes for the pass and he gets it to Donald Driver for a yard. And that's going to put him at 3rd and 9. 3rd and 9 here from midfield at the 50-yard line. And Brett Favre in the pistol. And he's going to take a step back. And he's going to wait for it. And he's going to throw it deep. A really long pass. And Greg Jennings caught a touchdown. And the first offensive touchdown of the game. A deep pass by Brett Favre. And that's going to put him in the end zone and take a 8-point lead pending the extra point. Yep, there it is right through the uprights, and it's 21-13. Green Bay at home leads it by just 8. It's still only a 1-possession game, but Seattle will have to go for 2 at some point if they really want to take this game and make it even. As a nice little return by Lockett, and that's going to be a first down at the 31-yard line. After a huge pass play on 3rd down by the Packers, Seattle gets the football back. And here comes this Seattle offense. Matt Hasselbeck dumps it to TJ Houshmandzadeh down to about the 35-yard line. And that puts him at 109 yards passing the football in this game so far. As the Seattle Seahawks offense coming out onto the field from about the 30-yard line. And he takes a step back. He hands the football off. There's a flag on the play. It's probably holding, but Sean Alexander takes it all the way to the 39-yard line. But is it holding on the offense? Indeed it is. So that entire play comes all the way back to a 2nd and 17. And that's going to really hurt this team as they got a lot of yards on that run play. And it all comes back for a 2nd and 17. From the I formation, they hand it off to Sean Alexander again in a nice little spin move, and he takes it upfield, and even though it came back, he gains about 14 yards, and it'll be 3rd and 3. One incredible run play by Sean Alexander here on that play, and it's 3rd and 3, and here comes in the shotgun the Seattle Seahawks offense. And they do a play action fake, and he's going to try and run the football, and number 90 takes him down, Henry Jordan, with the sack, and that's going to bring up a 4th and 12, and Seattle's going to have to punt the ball down by 8. Well, this offense has kind of been struggling here as of the second quarter. A good start to the game offensively in the first quarter, and then another amazing punt by the Seattle Seahawks, and they get it down to about the 3-4 yard line. As Green Bay will start the possession from the 4. In the I formation comes Brett Favre and the Packers. And he reverses the play and a play action fake. And a sack, safety! And Seattle gets 2 points there, and now all of a sudden it's a 6-point game. Incredible defense on that one to get the sack in the end zone for a safety, and just like that, the Seattle Seahawks are back in this game, and they have the football back at the 34-yard line, just down by 6 points. That was an incredible play by the defensive end to shake off a couple of blocks and get that big-time sack to take this offense back out onto the field and to put this game back within reach, as that puts Seattle's offense at 100 yards rushing. Officially, Green Bay only has 29 yards of rushing offense. And here comes a little delayed handoff to Sean Alexander, which puts them in plus territory. He has 20 rushes for 93 yards. And the Seattle Seahawks offense down to about the 47-yard line of Green Bay. And now in the shotgun, they hand the football off to Sean Alexander. This time they saw it coming, a loss of a yard. And it will be 3rd down and 7. So an incredible game so far for both of these teams. But Seattle now has the football, 3rd and 7. This is a monumental play to try and get back into this football game. And he throws it on a screenplay, and a well set up screenplay at that. Marshawn Lynch gets the football on the screen and gets the 1st down. So a nice little dump pass there. That puts Seattle's offense at 202 total yards. And the Seattle Seahawks are driving and cooking with gas right now, as they are at the 34-yard line. They do a shotgun handoff to the running back, and it is recovered by Seattle. Almost a bad play there by Marshawn Lynch, fumbling the football, but it'll be 2nd and 2. Well, almost a really big turnover there by Seattle, but instead hanging on at the very last minute to the football, and the fumble is recovered by Seattle. And Matt Hasselbeck running the football for about, 8 yards? 1st down and 10 inside the 20-yard line, as the red zone is a place where Seattle struggled completely in this game. They haven't been able to get almost anything going in the red zone to this point. Can they at least score a field goal? And there is intercepted. Butler, and he's going to take it to the 40. And Matt Hasselbeck with the tackle and the interception by Ladarius Butler, and that's going to give the Packers the football right on back to the 45-yard line. Leroy Butler with an interception, and that's a great play by the defense. He was able to read that play really well, and now Brett Favre has the football back. But there's a sack, and Paul Hornung able to recover the football, and man, Nash with the sack on that play, and that's an incredible defensive effort by the lineman there, getting that play. Paul Hornung with a 1-yard rush, putting him at 30 yards rushing. And as you can see, passing offenses no problem for the Green Bay Packers in this game, with 170 yards of passing offense to this point, as it is now 3rd down and 17. Trying to do something off the turnover for Green Bay, as both teams now with 3 turnovers on defense. And there's another sack, and that's going to be a huge play there. And that's going to be Seattle's 3rd sack of the game. 4th down and 28 for this Green Bay offense. And just like that, the Seahawks get the football back. They were in the red zone, where they have struggled to this point, but they have the football back. So it's not completely over yet, as Seattle, down by 6, has the football at the 27-yard line. We'll have to see exactly what they plan to do here, as they go in the shotgun with 1 running back in the backfield. Matt Hasselbeck changing the play, and they run it for a yard. Put Sean Alexander at 93 yards on 22 attempts, as Henry Jordan with the tackle. And now here comes another play from the shotgun, and this time Matt Hasselbeck going to throw the football, and it's a fumble, and it's recovered by the Packers, and another turnover by the Seahawks, and it is killing their football team, as the Packers have the football at the 21-yard line. A 4th turnover by Seattle, back-to-back drives ending with a turnover, and Paul Hornung running the football up the middle, grinding and pounding it for 9 yards for a 2nd and 1 by the Green Bay Packers offense. What an incredible defensive game for both of these teams, as it has just been, unfortunately, all Packers since the halftime bell rang. Since even before the halftime bell rang. And there's a fumble, and it's recovered by Seattle. And just as I say that, Earl Thomas with the fumble recovery. And Seattle has the football from their own 3. Well, a fourth turnover by Green Bay, and just like that, Seattle has the football right on back. And another play that goes for a turnover. And I got to say, what a sloppy game. You got to admit, though, the rain being the primary factor in this. And there's a nice little run play up the middle there to about the 6-yard line. And now in the shotgun comes Matt Hasselbeck. And he's looking in the end zone. You got to be careful there. And he runs the football, and he takes it to about the 6-yard line, just 1 yard on the play. Well, it's been an incredible game, but they're going to have to punt the football as both of these teams, man, it's been pretty wild if you guys have seen this game, as both teams unable to really play much offense, as the rain has really helped propel these defenses, as another failed possession by the Seattle Seahawks offense gives the football right on back to Green Bay, but Green Bay will be at the 43-yard line. Not the best possession there, and a nice little tackle as Paul Hornung only with 38 rushing yards in this game. It's been kind of rough. It's been kind of rough running the football in this game for the Green Bay Packers. And now in the shotgun, he grabs the football, and a sack. And another sack is Green's second sack of the game. And Seattle Seahawks have 4 sacks in this football game so far, as now in the shotgun, 2 running backs in the backfield for Brett Favre. 3rd down and 19, and breaking through a block was a defender. It was really close to being a sack, but he gets the ball off, and it's 4th and 11, as now the punting fest continues with just 1:10 to play here in the first quarter. And now here comes Vogel. He's been impressive in this football game so far. One of the best punters in the league, but he just barely can't keep it in play as it goes into the end zone for a touchback. Is now at the 20-yard line. The Seahawks gain possession down by just 6. Is this time the offense's lucky charm? And now here comes a pump fake. Matt Hasselbeck running the football up the middle, and he can't get almost anything as his 4th rush, this one for 3 yards. And a nice little play there by Seattle. 30 seconds to go here in the third quarter. And now they run the football up the middle, and there's a flag on the play. Is it going to be on the offense? Probably another holding call. Sure enough, it is, as Seattle's going to be marched back 10 yards for a 2nd and 17. And this is the second time they've been in second and 17 in this football game. And Seattle's trying to get something going here. Matt Hasselbeck stepping back in the backfield, and he gets it to Wilson, the tight end, for a 1st down. And Seattle, just like that, getting back into the swing of things with 141 yards passing for this quarterback. And that's going to end the third quarter as everyone raises their big number 4 right above their heads, as it is now time for the 4th quarter. A big time, as in empty, throwing the football and unable to hang on to it is Wilson, and that is going to be an incomplete pass. And now in the shotgun with 1 running back in the backfield, Matt Hasselbeck. And he takes a step back, and it's going to be a designed quarterback run, and he gets a 1st down. So Matt Hasselbeck running the football, and he gets the 1st down. Unbelievable, as the Seahawks will have the ball at the 42-yard line. They're driving, they're cooking with gas. This is the first good drive of the second half for Seattle. And, well, the second good drive for Seattle. The last one ended in the exact same way. Ray Nitschke, the middle linebacker, with the interception, and he takes it to the 21-yard line. And just like that, all of a sudden, everything going down for the Seattle Seahawks. Unbelievable as it ends with a turnover for Seattle. Ray Nitschke on the interception at middle linebacker. How crazy is that? And now single backfield. Brett Favre, and he's sacked. And another sack for Seattle's defense. Is it going to be enough as Kennedy with the sack? I believe that's the 5th or 6th sack for this Seattle defense. Unbelievable. And now going from the single backfield into play action a pass play, and he throws it for a nice little short gain. Brett Favre with 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, and this Green Bay Packers offense in the red zone officially past the 20-yard line. And here comes the Packers looking to try and put this game out of reach with a score, but he can't quite make it. A field goal here would still be huge, as that would put a 9.2 score deficit to overcome for Seattle with 12:38 and counting. And he kicks it, and it's good. So 24-15, a 9-point Packers lead. Can Seattle come back to win this game here in the fourth quarter? They have struggled to get anything going, and when they have, it ended in an interception both times. They tried to get a drive going. So now Seattle has the ball at the 25-yard line for a first down. What will Matt Hasselbeck do? And here comes a play-action pass as they're desperate to get some yards, and he gets it to the tight end Wilson for a first down. And that puts Matt Hasselbeck over 150 yards, passing the football down to about the 40-yard line for this offense. Looking to try and get something going on this drive. And here comes a play-action fake. And he's going to get sacked. Clay Matthews' second sack of the game. And that is huge, as that is Green Bay's 6th sack of the football game. Clay Matthews' second here in this game as well. Now from the shotgun, going to throw the football on the screen play, and he gets it to Sean Alexander. An excellent setup screen, and it's going to take him down about a yard or two shy from the first down marker. 3rd and a long one. As this offense looks to try and get something going here. Seattle in the shotgun, and they hand the ball off to Sean Alexander, who gains about 2 yards for the first down, as he is just 3 yards away from a 100-yard rushing performance. An impressive game so far for Seattle. It's been absolutely terrific. And now stepping back in the backfield, Matt Hasselbeck chucking the ball over the middle, and it's incomplete right in between 3 Packers defenders, and it's not going to be enough. 2nd down and 10. As this Green Bay Packers football team looking to try and stop them here, as they have the last 2 times that they've been inside Packers territory. And an incomplete pass there, and that's going to bring up 3rd and 10 for this Seattle offense. Now in the shotgun, Matt Hasselbeck faking a handoff here. And he's going to be in trouble and throwing it deep. And it's caught. Touchdown, Seattle. Unbelievable pass. Matt Hasselbeck did the unthinkable. And that is a touchdown for Seattle. 21-24. And at the extra point, it is just a 2-point Seattle game. Unbelievable pass by Matt Hasselbeck, and that's a little bit of vengeance, as we saw the Packers do that same thing in the second quarter to put them up in this football game. As a deep kick, or the third quarter, my apologies. Well, Charles Woodson with the return back to the 26-yard line, a gain of a yard from where it would be if the ball went into the end zone. Well, Seattle's offense has been enough in this football game, as they have had over 300 yards of total offense. The Packers only barely above 200, but the turnovers have been key in the Packers leading this football game by just 2 points. What an entertaining game, as there are 10 minutes and 2 seconds to go in this football game. Anything can happen with just 2 points separating these two powerful football teams. Paul Hornung on the run and just barely getting tackled there. Fighting off a block is number 51. And the Seattle Seahawks, Bobby Wagner, my apologies, for just saying his number, as that'll be a 3rd and 8 for this Packers team. And now going for a pass, and that's going to get the first down for Brett Favre, just past the first down marker by about a yard or two. And that's going to be enough here. First down, Earl Thomas III on the tackle. In the shotgun, the Packers. Have the football here in the shotgun. Single backfield. And now a handoff. Shotgun handoff, and he gains a couple of yards here as Paul Hornung just passes 40 yards rushing. 3rd down and 7. Well, this game is going to be pivotal in the NFC playoff picture, and we're only in week 1. But these two teams, and Brett Favre going deep, and he gets it. Greg Jennings, touchdown, Green Bay. And an unbelievable deep touchdown pass by Brett Favre. And all of a sudden, the Packers take another 9-point lead, and Seattle has to be in desperation mode with 7:43 to go and down by 2 possessions. Well, what an unbelievable pass play by Brett Favre, his second of the football game, and just like that, Seattle is in desperate strengths here as Golden Tate III taking a knee in the back of the end zone. 7 minutes, 43 seconds to go. Green Bay on a deep pass puts this game just barely within reach. But Seattle still has an opportunity here. Matt Hasselbeck on a quarterback draw up the middle, and he gets it for about 40 rushing yards on the day and a first down. About 12 yards on the carry here is 1st and 10 for Seattle from about the 36-yard line. And here comes the snap. Play action fake. Matt Hasselbeck running with the football, and he runs the ball out for about 3 yards on the gain here. 9 points separate these two teams as in the shotgun. Here comes the Seahawks. And here comes the play action. And he gets it to about a yard shy of the first down marker for a 3rd and 1. Anybody can win this game still, but the Packers have a 9-point edge going into the last 6 minutes of play. And here comes the play action fake to the running back, and he gets it, or the fullback, my apologies, and he gets it just inches shy, and Seattle's going to have to go for it on 4th and 1. And now here comes the I formation, the defense lined up in goal line stand formation. And he runs the football. Sean Alexander breaks a tackle, and he's going to go. 30, 20, 10, 5, touchdown Seattle. And just like that, the Seattle Seahawks are back within just 2 points, pending the extra point here. And it's good, which puts the Seattle Seahawks within 2 with 5:27 to go. A huge broken tackle and a touchdown for Sean Alexander, and the Seahawks take the lead, or not take the lead, but put themselves within just 1 possession. A field goal would win it for this football team. But they have to play defense and stop this Green Bay Packers passing offense, who have 2 passing touchdowns of over 60 yards. Brett Favre on the play-action pass and looking to try and throw the football, and he gets it to the Richard Sherman, second pick of the first game, and it's taken all the way back to the 42-yard line. And Richard Sherman having 2 interceptions in this football game, and Seattle with a huge turnover, 5:15 to go, and they have the football. Matt Hasselbeck going down for a sack, running into his own player, and Clay Matthews' 3rd sack of the game. That is going to be absolutely enormous. Oh, maybe not. Maybe it does not count as a sack. Maybe he just fell over and it doesn't count as a sack. It doesn't look like the stat counted. And going for a screen play, and he fumbles the football, but Matt Hasselbeck barely able to get it back. And there is another sack, putting him at 3rd and 32 from their own 36-yard line. Man, what a predicament they have gotten themselves into on this possession. And Seattle looking to go deep. And he throws the ball away, and they're going to have to punt the football with 4:02 to go. Matt Hasselbeck's 3 interceptions in this game is brutal. As the score 31-29, 4:02 to go. Green Bay about to get the football back, and that's going to be a pivotal possession for them as they look to try and put the game away. A touchdown on this possession could very well be the difference in this football game, but still too much time to say for certain whether that is the case. As Green Bay having the ball at their own 16-yard line, Seattle in a tough spot right now, as they need to stop him on this possession. And he throws the football over to his running back, and he gets the football out of bounds, as this Packers defense is really what's keeping them in the game right now. That they have the lead solely because their defense has been impressive. The offset I formation. Brett Favre not going to hand the football off. He's going to throw it. And he gets it, and both feet are down, and that is a catch for 12 yards and a first down. Donald Driver with his 8th reception of the game, 93 yards. And the Packers have the football at the 28-yard line for a first down. And now here comes the pistol. And now Brett Favre going to throw the football, and he tosses it over to Nelson, and he gets the football for just a few yards to the 5 for a 5-yard gain. And now here comes the pass, and he gets it to Jordy Nelson to the 39-yard line, and that is a first down. That's going to be a huge play here for the Green Bay Packers offense. And now single backfield. And he play action fake, and he goes deep. Now this has been a problem for Seattle's defense, and he drops the football. It was an impressive pass, but just barely unable to catch the ball as the receiver. And that is going to be a 2nd and 10. So an actual good play on defense, and the Packers have one man in the backfield. And here comes the running play. Paul Hornung for a first down, and you can hear the crowd starting to get back into this football game. Oh, shoot. My apologies. But this game is down to the wire, past the 50-yard line. The Packers have the football, 49-yard line it is. And now stepping back, throwing to the receiver, and now taking it down to about the 41-yard line are the Packers. And it'll be 2nd and 2. And the 2-minute warning is here. And a score here, whether a field goal or a touchdown, could be the difference for the Packers in winning this game, as they are just 2 yards shy of the first down marker. 2nd and 2, single backfield. And they're going to run the football here, and they're going to get the first down to the 39-yard line, and Seattle takes a timeout on 1st and 10. Well, if they just get 3 more rushing plays to get that first down, this game could be over. And now here comes a draw play up the middle, and number 52 with the tackle. Seattle calling a timeout here, and it's just 2 points separating these two teams. 2nd and 8, 1:53 to go in this football game. There are just 2 points separating these two teams right now. And there's a nice tackle by Seattle. They swarm to the football, and their final timeout has been used at 3rd and 10, which means the Packers will likely throw the football here. But you've got to make sure that you at least hang on to the football. No, they're going to run the ball, a draw play up the middle, and that's going to put them at the 35-yard line. So they're going to kick a field goal here. This one is going to be a whopping 52-yarder in the rain. This is going to be a really hard kick for this kicker to make here. And he kicks the football, and it has the distance, and it is good. So now Seattle has to score a touchdown with a minute and 3 seconds to go and no timeouts. Well, this is going to be pivotal for this team as the ball goes out the back of the end zone, and Seattle right now with a 5-point deficit and the football. 1:03 to go. No timeouts. This is the game right here on this drive. Whether Seattle can win it or lose it will be up to Matt Hasselbeck in this offense. And there's a sack. And that is Willie Davis's 3rd sack of the game. And that's going to be a huge 8th sack for this offense. As right now, Matt Hasselbeck going to spike the football, and they're going to waste a play here with 46 seconds to go. And now with 3rd and 16. Matt Hasselbeck in the shotgun. There are just 2 plays that the Seahawks have to try and get at least a first down. And they're going to run the football with Sean Alexander. A great play, but that's going to run the time down. Sean Alexander's whopping 165 yards rushing in this game has been absolutely incredible. But here on 4th and 3, is it going to be enough? Throwing the football, and it's incomplete. And the Green Bay Packers just have to take a knee, and this game is over. Well, the Seattle Seahawks tried their best. At the beginning of the game, it looked like it was going to be all Seattle, and this game ends with a brutal loss for the Seattle Seahawks as this game comes to a close. And that's rough. It's got to be rough for Seattle to play as hard as they did and unable to get enough going as this game comes to a close. A 0-1 start for the Seattle Seahawks. And I want to thank you all for watching this exciting first video. I apologize that the first roughly hour was, going through and showing you the teams, as well as accidentally starting a game that really shouldn't have been started. And now, hopefully it was worth it. That game was pretty exciting. We got to see a lot of crazy stuff go out, and thank you all for watching this game. Hope you enjoyed it. And come back next time for the second game of this series. If there's any particular game you want to see this week, by the time our next video comes up, which I'm not 100% sure when that will be, make sure to leave a comment in the comment section down below and let me know exactly what you will be looking for out of that. So thank you all. Make sure you click that thumbs up button, leave a comment in the comment section down below. And, yeah,